Hey everyone,
Hey everyone.
I'm Kaiya, Thrifty Redhead on Instagram.
I'm Caitlin. Did I thrift that closet on Instagram?
And welcome to Flip That Jawn.
We are two full-time resellers from Philly, and this is a weekly podcast that explores the ins and outs of reselling while linking arms with the reselling community to help grow and learn from each other.
We're excited to connect with you and new voices that will help to inspire and motivate you in your reselling journey. Join us as we learn more about ourselves, each other, and our ever-growing awesome reselling community.
Hey guys, and welcome to episode 14 of Flip That Jawn podcast. If you are new, hi, hello, and if you are coming back, hello to our tiny hand gang. As always, make sure you hit the thumbs up, click the bell, and tell us how your week is going down below in the comments. Don't forget to join the tiny hand gang by hitting the subscribe button over on our YouTube. And if you're joining us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or any other streaming platform, join the tiny hand gang by clicking the follow button. We'd love to know what y'all are enjoying or want to talk about some more, so make sure you leave a review or a voice memo by clicking the link in our episode description to share your thoughts about the topics with us. And with that being said, let's say hello to Miss Kaiya.
Hola.
Hola. I swear we're gonna have a different intro from you every episode.
I know. Like, who is this chick?
Why don't you tell the people today what we're talking about, Kaiya?
All right, so we're starting a new topic this month, y'all, and we are talking about mental health awareness. So this entire month of May, we'll be talking about mental health awareness. We'll have on some special guests. You know, you're going to get our experiences, our inputs, our opinions, and, you know, we just want to be more aware.
Yeah, I want to be more aware about everything, but especially mental health. If you're new to the podcast too, with each month we choose a new topic. So with this topic is super near and dear to my heart, and it's just something that we definitely want to talk about. We're super excited to talk to some people about. And as always, we like to just kind of jump into this, and we're going to keep it 100% real and transparent with you guys, because that's just how we roll. So Kaiya, what is your definition of mental health?
So my definition is literally the word. I had to analyze and break it down, like mental health. What does it mean? Health of the mental. It's legit. That's the easiest way to really, for me to, you know, speak about it. I don't know the concrete Webster definition of it, but when I think of mental health, like, to me, it means like taking care of like you, what's going on inside of you, what's going on inside of your head, your body, your physical aspect, all of that. Knowing, you know, why you're saying certain things, doing certain things, why you're feeling a certain way, and making sure that you're taking care of it.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that's what I don't know where I was going with that, y'all.
I think it was backwards. You hit the head on the nail.
You hit the head on the nail.
I don't know either.
I hope not. Well, that was me attempting to be savvy and failing. But I think that's true. Definitely just how it is. You know, I think a lot of people definitely take care, maybe see the physical health aspect before the mental health aspect a lot of times. And I know coming out of 2020, I think it became more apparent with people that you can take care of your physical body, but also if you're not taking care of your mental health, that definitely takes a toll on you just as much as, you know, not taking care of yourself physically. So for mental health, for me, I kind of look at it broken down, because obviously I come from my experience of being in that field, or having issues that were line into mental health. But I think it's taking care of, you know, knowing why you're doing things, knowing why you're saying things, maybe not so much knowing that, but acknowledging it. But also like your feelings. Why do you feel a certain way? Why do you think about like things a certain way? Why do you have like a first reaction to thing almost? So taking care of your mind, but also taking care of your heart as well. So that's what mental health, it's such a broad topic to me.
No, I was just saying, like, it is a broad topic. I feel like it's a different definition for everyone. I mean, not just individualized, but like culture-wise. You know, different cultures, you see it differently because you know a lot about it more, or it's, you know, maybe you experience it, or it's kind of, not say running your family, like I don't want to say that, but maybe you have family members that experienced it and you know more about it versus another culture that doesn't and don't really know how to deal with it, so they don't really understand it.
That's a great point. I think people forget about the culture aspect of it too, and I know that I've spoken to that I think a few times on here. Also, just how it's maybe not so apparent or kind of stigmatized or hush or swept under the rug, however you want to say it, in some cultures. I'm glad to see that it's becoming more normalized to talk about it. And I was just saying that to go back, I was just saying that before we started this podcast, because I also think mental health, the idea of mental health can differ in the steps that you've taken in your life and your life experiences and what you deal with, because I'm pretty sure we even have different experiences of what mental health is. I mean, coming from my side, I know I know a lot of it from firsthand experience, but I can't say how it feels to be not in that firsthand experience, you know, or being, you know, with either a family member or loved, you know. I always think about my parents. Like I can't imagine how my parents felt being in that situation versus how I felt. So I think that's just as important to talk about the people that are, you know, have family members or friends or partners or, you know, whatever it is, like that deal with the certain mental health issues. I mean, that I feel like one thing that should be talked about more is that experience, to open communities for those people to be able to talk, because how much it also affects them as well. Like I always tell people, you know, full disclosure, me being an addict, me being an alcoholic, being clean, like my partner's experiences with that, like Marty's experiences and how he feels dealing with it, is just as valid as mine is. And so he should have people to talk about how he deals with being in a relationship with someone like that. Because I know it's not like 100% easy sometimes. I know we can be honest. I'm pretty honest with him, and I'll tell him like, hey, say I woke up and say I want to use. And I feel like that can be just as hard for the other person, just as hard as it is for me to maybe acknowledge that or to not use. So I think like that's what's really important. That's why I'm like glad Kaiya's here, because it kind of you kind of get both sides of the story, and that's just as important.
Oh yeah, for sure. You definitely gonna get my experience. I tell you, I don't know nothing about it. I mean, I know some stuff, but it's not nothing that it wasn't something that we talked about a lot growing up. Like you hear something of like this and it's just like, oh, you don't want to use the term crazy, but it's like when you're not educated about it, you don't know what to say. That's why I never said anything, because I'm not educated about it and I don't want to say the wrong thing or trigger someone, or, you know, for whatever. I want to learn more about it. So, and especially dealing with it myself, I didn't know what I was going through, having anxiety. It was just like, why the fuck is this happening? Like, what is going on? And you know something is wrong, but you try to be like, oh, I'm just stressing. I'm just going to make it up and do something else. It's like, no, sis, you need to go to the doctor now.
Yeah.
You need to go get some professional help. You need to see what's going on. And that's when it was like clear to me, like, okay, this is why this is happening. You know, this is what transpires. Here's some pamphlets. Thank you, because I will read those.
They love those pamphlets.
They love it. Those are pamphlets I actually read, though.
That's good, though.
I wish I would have read the pamphlets when we were in health class and they talked about safe sex, because I didn't read that shit.
Pamphlets. This episode is brought to you by pamphlets.
Yes, read them.
Read them.
Read them.
Well, I feel like also too, like I mean, okay, so like two things I think that's important. What you just said is, first of all, like I feel like when you're a kid or you don't have acknowledgement of what you're going through, or what, I don't like to say issue is, because I don't think like I have an issue. It's just one part of me. It's not all of me. But you know, if you don't know, like you said, like you don't know what's going on, you probably are not like enthused to read a pamphlet. Like, I mean, I don't know any kid that's like, yes, hand me pamphlets. But I feel like now with social media, and as much as it is shame is that I feel like younger kids are probably dealing with the consequences of these issues not being brought up as much, whether it's like in the public eye with like, you know, figures in music or actors and actresses and all that kind of stuff. You know, I feel like they're getting exposed to like the side of it not being talked about. And so there's like this chain reaction of like, oh, this is okay, so now I want to be educated on this. So if my friends come to me, it's like, you know, I know what to do, or I know like the proper steps to initiate like an intervention. I know the proper steps to, you know, get them help, or I know to just go talk to an adult. But the other thing I want to say too is like the thing you touched on where you're like, I think that's great. You want to listen and you want to be educated, but it's almost like, you know how like when you want to be an ally, you just gotta like know like you're gonna fuck up at one point. Like you're gonna say something stupid, like you're gonna say something really stupid, but like it's an opportunity to be educated and to change the mindset and be like, oh, I didn't know that this stupid thing I've been saying for years is actually really hurtful or like really negative. I think the same thing goes in allyship for like mental health. Because I'm not expecting everybody to know what's going on in my brain, because sometimes I don't even know what's going on in my brain. So like, it's okay. It's okay to like not understand the whole picture. And I know from my experiences with like either my parents or my friends, like if they don't know, it's okay, because I feel like having those conversations or asking those questions, like, why do you think like that? Or why do you react like that? Or why, you know, sometimes it opens up that opportunity of education there, which I feel like is more meaningful than just reading it on the internet, you know, because you're getting that firsthand experience. So I don't know. That's just my food for thought on that, is like, don't be afraid to like ask. I mean, I hope Kaiya, like me and Kaiya are close. Like, I hope you like don't ever be scared to not ask me questions. I might not be able to give you the answer, but you know.
Listen, I will definitely ask questions. Sometimes a little too much.
Just don't cry in front of me.
Just because I don't know what to do, Caitlin. But I feel like the educational part is important, and I feel like try to incorporate it into kids now as much as we can is important. This is why, no shit, I love Sesame Street, because if you guys have been raised on Sesame Street like I have, you know a lot about a lot, like subliminally, a lot. Because all I can remember when I was trying to, when the pandemic first started and I was trying to, you know, talk to my kids about it, and, you know, we all going through stuff, even kids, they're going through a lot and they can't express themselves because they don't know how. And Sesame Street was the one thing I kept thinking about, because I remember watching this one Elmo episode, and they were talking about depression, and they were talking about mental health, and it was Elmo, and he was like going through all his feelings, and he was mad, and Elmo was like, Elmo's so angry. And Big Bird was like, why is Elmo so angry? And he was like, Elmo wants Goldie to eat the food. it was just like, and I was looking at the TV like, why does Elmo don't want Goldie to eat the food? And I was like so concerned. And they were talking about feelings, and they were talking about why we feel this way, and his parents, why they were feeling. And I was just like, this is amazing. And so I let my kids watch it. And we talked about it afterwards, and they had a lot of questions, and they could relate, especially Kinley. Kinley can relate a lot to herself. She talks about a lot to herself in certain situations. And so she was like, yeah, I felt that way when Kylie took my doll. And she was like, and I wanted to hit Kylie, but I didn't hit Kylie, but I hit her doll. And I was like, oh, okay.
All right.
Let's talk about this a little more. Here's another episode, Elmo. Open up this dialect. But I feel like with the children, we have to talk more about everything.
And I feel like too, like I love having this conversation with you as a parent, because it's different having a conversation with your friend who's a parent, like, versus like your parents, you know what I mean? Like, my parents, love them. They did everything in their reach to help me. It didn't matter the finances. There was points that my parents had to, just step back and be like, we can't deal with this. Like, we can't help you. Like, there's no more help that we can, like, until you choose to help yourself. But, I've had conversations, and we've developed a great relationship over the years with that. And I think that's why it's so important to have such great parents, or parents that are setting that, where it's like, it's okay to have these conversations with your kids, and like I always say, like, you're a great mom because you open the forum for whatever is going to come through to have a conversation. And I think that can be hard for parents sometimes, because you don't know what you're going to get. But
and I'm not perfect by any means, guys. Like, I'm not. I have my big moments quietly where I'm just like, why did I want to be a mom? Why did I want this? And then I had to like really reflect of like why I did everything I did. But it's hard. And it's hard when you're responsible for a life. Like, you have to build them from the ground up. Like, that's just insane. Like, not that you birth someone, but like this whole little creature is going to be formed and grow up to be someone of how you raise them. Like, I'm in charge of how you grow up. Like, are you going to grow up to be a serial killer? Or are you going to grow up to be a porn star? Like, what are you going to grow up to be? It's all about how I raise you, what I bring you around, how I talk to you, which is important in mental health. Because I'm telling you, I had to catch myself a lot on how I talk to my kids. Like, I don't cuss at them a lot, but it was like, I don't want to keep being the bashful one. Like, why aren't you doing it this way? You should be doing this. You like very negative. I don't want to, I'm just like, and I don't mean it to come out that way, but I had to be a lot gentle with my words, because I don't want them to go to sleep at night, like thinking like I can't do nothing right.
Yeah, I mean, being a parent is, I definitely say, like, I mean, even before this past year, but like, especially this past year with all the change that parents have had to make, like, and, you're trying to be the solid rock for this family in a time where they're experiencing trauma. And then you're experiencing your own trauma, but you almost feel like you can't do that. Like, I feel like it's just as important, because, I know you, and we know a lot of moms. Like, I love moms, love Barbara, love Val, like, love them all, love you, Chelsea, for being a great mom to like, I love all my moms. And Tally, you're going to be a great mom to your baby. Like, I love it all. But I think a lot of times parents forget, like, it's okay to also take time for yourself. And on that note too, like, I know I think you're great, like, that's totally normal. Because, like, my mom, through everything that we've been through, my mom to this day says the hardest thing was not the interventions, was not taking me there. It wasn't the fights, because we used to go, I mean, head to head. Like, it was ugly. It was like, we joke about it now. Like, remember how bad we used to fight? We used to say, like, I used to tell her I hate you, like, all this stuff. But the hardest thing for my mom, she says, and I think a lot of parents can resonate with this, and I've spoken to it on Instagram, is like, just because your child is in the middle of a mental health crisis, has a mental health disorder. Again, I don't want to come off harsh as anyone. Like, that's not just you totally. That's one part of you, one part of the onion. That doesn't make you up entirely. But the hardest thing for her was realizing that as my mom, as a person who carried me for 9 months, as a person who gave me life and raised me and put food on the table and taught me life lessons, that she couldn't fix it for me. Because at the end of the day, as a parent, you just want your kid to feel loved. You just want them to feel good. You want them to feel happy. You don't care if they're you don't, at the end of the day, like, you want to raise them right, but as long as they're happy and they feel loved and they're healthy, and, like, being a parent and being like, I can't do anything for my child. Like, I can give them resources, but, like, I as a mom can't fix it. And so to this day, I'm just like, I can't. And I've worked through that, because then I'm like, how can I make my mom feel like that? At the end of the day, like, that, it's just my brain. It's not her fault. It's not my fault, but, like, I think sometimes, that other side of that story, like, that being a parent is, like, not being able to help your kid and to feel helpless is, like,
That's heartbreaking.
Something.
And it's going to
Yeah,
happen.
and
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Like, it's nothing they have to learn a lot of mistakes on their own. You can't always save them, even though I want to always save them. And I got 3 girls. So I can just imagine what's coming forward in my life with the boys, with the marriage, with the breakups. Like, I'm going to be ready to shoot someone's son real quick if you hurt my daughter. But I'm going to have to, like, really, this is where the teaching comes in. Let me teach you my lessons. Let me show you what I went through. So hopefully you don't make those same mistakes. And you can see, like, what I built and what I had to go through. And then you can try to find that yourself.
But the best thing as a parent, like, coming from my side, and I tell my mom this, is, like, the best thing she did and the way she did help me was by giving me the resources, driving me to therapists,
That's
being
love.
like, you're not skipping this appointment. You're going to go, pulling me out of college, when I couldn't get the right resources and I wasn't in, and I wasn't in a crisis, like, and to this day, still doing it. She still does it at 32 by picking up the phone, and just me having that open area to be like, Mom, like, I'm not okay today, and I just need you to listen. I just need to talk to you. I just need my mom to be there so I can talk to her. And, like, that's the best thing, I think, like, if you're a parent that's dealing with that, or, I don't know, that hasn't been brought to the surface yet or whatever, or you're afraid of it, the best thing you can just do is just show that unconditional love. Just, like, in those moments, it's like, I love you. Like, I love my kids for however they are. Like, I don't care the mistakes you're going to make, because you're probably going to make them. I don't care if you have, like, this thing that you're working through. Like, I still love you. And that's the way you can help. But I don't think, like, unless I acknowledge that to her, and I tell that daily, like, and she'll do the same thing. She'll be like, I'm just proud of you. Like, I'm just proud of how far you've come. I'm proud that you're picking up the phone today. And that, to me, sometimes has stopped me from doing, throwing my recovery away. It's just by my mom being like, I'm proud of you today. And it doesn't even have to be like on an anniversary or birthday. It'll just be a Tuesday afternoon. And my mom will be like, we're just proud of you.
Come through, Val. Come through, Val, with the Tuesday love.
The Tuesday love. It's Monday, Tuesday, love. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday love. It's that unconditional love. And I just feel like whether you're a parent or your friend or your partner and you're looking for a way to like help someone, definitely first and foremost, like help people get the resources to talk to somebody professional, help them. But if you're feeling like helpless in that situation, the best thing you can do is just listen. Just remind people. And again, it doesn't have to be like because it's a birthday, it's a holiday, it's whatever. Like, how good does it feel in the morning when like me and Kaiya do this all the time. Like, the first person I text in the morning is Kaiya to say good morning. Like, how nice is it just to be like, good morning?
Yeah, good morning. I literally go through like my whole text and I'll text like everyone good morning. Some of them say good morning back. Some of them don't. But I mean,
still sleeping.
I just be like, good morning. Have a great day. I guess people need to hear that. And that can honestly change the way you feel in the morning. You can wake up on a bad side, like literally, and you can get a text from someone to just be like, good morning, I love you, I hope you have a great day. And that can just change their entire mood.
Or like, I know I do this sometimes, and Mari just does it, and I'm sure like you and Chris do this. It's like sometimes it doesn't have to be like an anniversary or a date night. Like we'll just be in the kitchen together, and I'll be like, I love you, babe. Like, it's just those, or can I have a hug? I've learned
we do that a lot.
I've learned to ask for hugs. Like, it doesn't have to. I feel like people are like, oh, is this a hugging moment? No, it's like you just ask for a hug. And I'm not expecting him to get it. I'm not expecting him to understand what's in my brain. I don't expect you to understand. Like, I don't expect my mom. But it's just like the fact that I know, like, no matter what I'm going through, it's like having that, like, those good, solid people that, like, I can go, like, I know I don't have to, like, I know it's just like that unconditional love. And it doesn't fix, like, I'm going to live with this forever. I'm going to live with my stuff forever. But having that and having, like, professionals, having NA, having, step work, having meetings. Even right now, like, meetings are still not open in Philly because of pandemic or the panorama, the Panera Bread, whatever you want to call it. But like using things like Clubhouse and going into different rooms and not necessarily even having to like, it's funny because like, how Clubhouse, you have to like literally raise your hand. It's like a meeting. Like you have to raise your hand to talk. So it's like, just going there and maybe just sitting in it or like just having that access to like that kind of safety net or having online counseling or having counseling that fits your budget. Like, or just maybe even listening to this podcast and like knowing that there's two people here that like get it and they support you. Like we may not come from the same issues or we may not struggle with the same mental health struggle, but like I'm here for you just as much as I know you're here for me.
We always say our DMs are open and we really mean that. When we say like our DMs are open, slight inappropriately, but they are open. I've had a lot of reseller friends reach out just for a listening ear, and sometimes that's important, and it's not always heard correctly. Like sometimes I just need someone to just listen. Like don't say nothing, just let me vent because it'll make me feel better, which will talk me off the edge. Like that's it, and I like doing that for people. So people will literally DM me and go on a tangent, and I'm just be like, yes, get it out. I'm here. Virtual hug. Let me hug you.
I feel like everybody, I mean, like definitely in mental health, like, you gotta talk, like there's definitely that barrier of being like the stigma, right? But I feel like we're getting a lot better about that. Like, I feel like people, I always say, like, come at it when it's the best time for you. Like, don't, you don't have to. Like, you talk about what you feel and what you want to talk about when it's appropriate for you. Even in DMs, like, if you don't feel comfortable saying something, you don't have to say it. But, like, I feel like people are maybe with this whole, like, as much as, like, the anonymity behind the screen can cause a lot of trolling or bullying and stuff like that, I also feel like anonymity, wow, I can't, Kaiya, it's me who can't speak today. But
well, I wouldn't be able to say that anyway, so
but like
put in the word of
anonymity.
Okay.
There you go. Anonymity behind the screen also kind of, offers some kind of like safety net for people to feel like they can come forward a little bit and say, like, this is the tip of the iceberg that I've been dealing with. There's a whole lot more of this iceberg. But, like, just those tiny things. And to tie it into, like, right into the reselling world, it's like I've met plenty of other people that I've developed friendships with or I talk to that are, it's not necessarily about reselling. It's about, we've been in the same boat. We've been rowing. We've been two boats made the same, rowing the same direction, and now we in the same boat, making it a little less hard because we're both rowing one boat instead of two. And that's like the beauty of reselling. And I feel like, especially in the reseller community too, is like, I feel like people are understanding that it's important to talk about these things, but also to like apply them in your life. Does that make sense? I had to throw "does that make sense" in there.
I haven't heard that in a while. Does that make sense?
I know.
No, it does. It does make perfect sense. It definitely does. So how do you think, Caitlin, mental health awareness is applied in the reselling world?
I think there's an ebb and flow to it, like most things, like most communities. I feel like, you got people talking about it in general, you got people talking about it in specifics. There are a lot of specifics. Like I said, I've met a lot of people that maybe I wouldn't have met before, that deal with the same things through reselling. But I feel like it really applies with reselling because I feel like a lot of people tell me they just love it. They love reselling so much and they're really passionate about it, and then they don't know how to like take time for themselves. And I know we are both guilty of that because we are like foot on the gas pedal, go 99% of the time. I mean, you were just on, look, Kaiya was just on vacation and she said, you better take a damn vacation. Did I take a vacation?
No, she did not.
No, I didn't. And so, and what it's like, I just tried to sit here and justify it with you before the podcast to be like, well, I just had all this laundry to do. I just had all this like cleaning the house to do. And like in the back of my head, I hear like Marty's voice being like, it doesn't need to be done right now. Like,
yes, Marty. Come through, Marty.
Come through,
Marty,
Val.
the pony
Come through,
and the thoughts. Come through, all of y'all over there. Tell her to sit down.
And like I feel like a lot of times, like, I'm not here to like diagnose. I'm no by means like a professional. I'm not here to diagnose. I'm not here to tell anybody like, hey, you deal with this and you deal with this and that's why you're like this. No, everybody is vastly different, and mental health is like that's not mental health. Is like putting people in boxes. But it's like, I feel like the go, that I gotta keep hustling or else I'm not gonna succeed. If I slow down, I don't make it to the top of the mountain. I will still be here in 50 years, so let me work on my business first mentality. But even just like, I just love doing this so much, and I'm just as guilty. Like, and I know Kaiya can say this too. Like, the office in the house, so I could close the door, but sometimes I'm like, open it up. I'm like, ooh, wait, I forgot. Like, I gotta like do this one last thing, or I gotta put this thing on a post-it note, and then I'm right back in my office again. You know. So I think just that the grinding, like the toxicity of like the culture of like, if you're not working, you're not doing anything and you're not succeeding, or I just love this so much I can't stop. But don't worry, it's not a bad thing, because it's something that makes me happy. But like, it can't be
It
the
will be
only
a
thing
bad
that
thing.
makes me happy.
But it will be a bad thing if that's all you do. So if you don't take a break, your body doesn't take a break, your mind doesn't take a break, which involves mental health. So if you don't step away from it sometimes for a period of time, then it's going to be an overload. And then I felt myself doing the same thing. Like I would go on and on and on, and it wouldn't take a break until my body literally told me, you're not doing shit today. And then it will turn into 3 days and then 4 days. And it is like, there I am, like spending a whole week not doing work just because I didn't take a day off in between of doing work. So it's
You know what?
important to take a day off. Even this is a job. Like this is a legit job. Like it's treat it like a 9 to 5 going out the office every day. Even if your office is your living room, put a freaking blanket over your table and say, I'm clocking out for the day, and walk away from it. That's important.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, that goes for resellers, but also like, I know if you look at the stats of like PTO days taken or time off taken, like just in general, whether you're 9 to 5 or a reseller, whatever, is like very, very low compared to other countries. And I think it's just that, again, that toxic hustle mentality. Like, you know, if
Girl,
you're not doing,
girl, that's what I'm telling you. Like it's not popping in in the 9 to 5 world. Imagine being a woman on maternity leave, and they tell you you only get 6 weeks after you done ripped yourself apart for a little beast to heal for yourself, make sure your baby's straight, bond with your baby, and then come right back to work. That's a
yeah,
no-go. That is not okay. It's not
yeah.
okay. And then you get penalized for staying out for more than 6 weeks.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, there needs to be a change in that, definitely, for sure, for 9 to 5 people. But like, I'm not trying to throw Marty with the pony under the bus here. But, you know, Marty works for a company that's like, they're a fantastic company. Like, they have been nothing, like, I'm so happy he works for this company, because it's like, you know, it's like a rare company I feel like actually cares about their employees, where they're like, what do you need in the pandemic, like panorama? Like, do you need extra computer stuff? Like, how, like, his boss would call, like, how's everyone doing in house? Is anyone going through like when my mom went in ICU, like his boss would just call and ask how my mom is. Like, and that's really rare, I know. But like Marty gets unlimited PTO. Like, so there's not like 10 days that you can only take off. Like, literally, anytime you need PTO, you can take it. Do you know how many PTO days this man has taken in a year? 2. I think maybe 3.
I would straight take 30 days, just like I'm out. I'm out.
Like, even to the point where, like, when he got his second round of vax, it was like, I was like, just tell him. Just take, like, this is me. Like, me of all people being like, just take the day. Like, it's just take the day. You don't know how, like, it's gonna hit you, like, whatever. Like, just take, you got unlimited PTO. Like, just take it. You know what I mean? If it's, for me, I'm like, if it's there, you know, do it. He's like, yeah, but you know, it's like the beginning of the month. And like the beginning of the month, I want to set my sales quota, and I want to be able to hit the goals that my like higher ups have given me. And I want to be able to hit this part of my commission. Yeah. And then like come that day, he's like, yeah, I'm not rolling in. I'm like, but it's like that, even if you do have it, right? Even like us, like we don't have to write days off requests to anybody. We don't have to like
No,
doing
we
that
don't have to
stuff.
do
But
none of that. We
like,
can legit just wake up and be like, no, we're not doing it. But I don't do that. Me and
I
Caitlin
don't
write days
either.
off. We write days off, and then when the days off come, like we literally have to like force ourselves to be like, we're really going to take this day because it's important. It
I'm,
really is. Like we give ourselves our own PTO. We are our own boss. So we don't have to answer to anyone. But I agree with Marty. I understand exactly where he's coming from. You want to, clock in and be like, I gotta meet these goals, I gotta do this, and I feel the same way. I gotta meet my listing goals. I have to make sure my content is up on Instagram. Like I have to do this, and it's just like that's crazy. How he
it's
works a 9 to
crazy.
5 and we have our own business, and it's still so relatable.
It's so relatable, and I just bring up that point too because it's like where's the line in the sand where you prioritize the money that you make over your own well-being and mental well-being? Because I always tell people this, like if you were literally sick, like if you had your head in a toilet, you would have no issue being like, I'm not going in today. So what's the difference if your head is in the actual toilet or if your head is in a mental toilet, to put it that way?
Yeah.
Like, why is it, unless you're physically sick, you feel more okay with taking that time off than if you like mentally are like not doing okay? But then where's that, like how do you prioritize like one over the other? Because to me, one thing that's helped me is like my physical, like if I'm physically sick, it's just the same as if I'm like not feeling good in the head.
Yeah. I feel
And
like it'll bring on the physical sickness to me. If I'm
oh
not
yeah,
feeling good in my head, it'll pass through my body, and then it'll just be like, okay, it's taking over. Like it's taking over my body. So that's when it's just like, it's a thing. You try to push it to the side, like, oh, I'm just having a bad day. Okay, but why am I being so lazy? Why am I laying around? Why am I not smiling? It's just like it takes over, and it's just like you have to, okay, I see. Now you opened my eyes.
Yeah, it's like just because your head's not physically in the toilet getting sick, like you can still have those sick days. Like like when you're growing up, like I would always say like, Mom, can I take a mental health day? But mostly it was because like I maybe like didn't want to do a school assignment or something like that. But like my mom, again, Val coming through with the love.
Come through, Val.
And most of the time she'd be like, no, you're gonna go get your education because this is gonna help you. Thank you, Val, because I don't think I'd be where I am without it. But like some days she'd be like, okay. And she wouldn't even like second guess me. And we'd have this weird like tradition where like some days like she would just know that like, I don't know, maybe it's that mom like spidey sense that you guys have when you can just like tell your kids like, not feeling well or like something's up and they're just not telling you. I feel like it's a spidey sense.
It is.
That moms have.
I can definitely sense it. I can sense it more than my husband can. And he always asks me, like, is that because they, like, you birthed them? Like, he's always asking me, like, is that why? And I was like, I really don't know. I think it's just like a mom thing. Like, it's just a mom thing, whether my kids are sick, whether they're upset. Like, I can tell very instant. And that's when I go into like mama beast mode. Like, let me get this out of you.
Mama bear mode. It's like he wanted to, so my mom would just like, okay, like sleep in, and my mom would like, we would go to McDonald's. This is before it was vegan, obviously, but we would go to like McDonald's breakfast, and we would just
sorry.
we would just like have some hash browns in the car. My mom would like always let me play music really loud in the car, so we would just like, and I feel like just again like it's that unconditional, like there was never that recognition of like there's something going on, but it was like I'm still like I'm here if you need it. But like,
do you feel like that was like a mom, like you needed your mom that day? Maybe.
I feel like every day I need my mom.
Because I feel like my kids do that to me. I mean, you've seen my king spurts, but my daughters sometimes, if they're 6, 7, and 11, so they don't, not like King who's 2, who's all up under me all the time, literally a third leg. some days they're just like very attached and very like wanting my attention, like very needy in that moment. I'm like, why? What's? And then I had to like realize, okay, maybe they just need a mom day. And so now we do that. We'll take a mom day where I had to individualize each of them. Like, so you get all of me all of this day, and she'll get all of me that day, so that they can feel that. And they need that. And I feel like it really does make them better.
Yeah, because sometimes, like, no matter how many times I would fight with my mom or I didn't think my mom got, and same goes with my dad. Like, my dad has been the one in my corner that fought tooth and nail to get me what I need. Like, my dad will always fight for me. I love that. Like, my dad is like the fighter in me. That's, you know, when I am like, no, I'm gonna do this, like, that's because like I'm used to that. To my dad has taught me that way. Like, you want to do something, you're gonna do it. You're gonna work really, really fucking hard for it, but you're gonna do it. But like, I feel like my, I don't know, maybe it's like a woman, like a girl thing. Like, maybe I felt like I could, like, I didn't really have to say it to my mom, because I mean, like, growing up with mental health issues and then throwing everything else a teenage girl deals with your body changing, boys, mean girls, you know, there's just a lot of other factors that play into that. And so maybe I just felt like it was, you know, maybe she would get it, or like, but I never really like disclosed to her, like, hey mom, my brain feels really fucked up today. Can we roll to McDonald's? Like, that was never the conversation. But I think she kind of generally would be like, yeah, like, this is how it is. You know what I mean? Like, and both my parents have always been like, you don't have to even tell us what's going on, but you can tell us anything that's going on. Like, be honest and be open when you want to come to the table with that, but just try to be the best human being you can be. So maybe it was that. Like, maybe now I'm like, am I Kaiya giving me a therapy session over here? Like, because it's like, but it's true. Like, I feel like maybe that's something too. Like, maybe there was that bond with my mom, because being a teenage girl dealing with mental health on top of everything else, that, you know,
girls have a lot of shit.
Yeah, and you're just, I mean, that's already a lot for like young women and teenagers to deal with, like your body changing, you know, boys, relationships.
Let's throw a bunch of mental health in there too.
Yeah, it's a fun time. It's great.
Oh god.
Outstanding.
Yes.
12 out of 10, don't recommend. It's just a lot, you know, it's a lot to deal with, and then your brain feels like, you know, sometimes you're in control of it, sometimes you're not in control of it. Like, sometimes you don't know why you're doing the things you do or the way you feel that way, especially as a teenager. Like, what they say, like, your brain doesn't fully develop until like you're a certain age.
Yeah.
So your brain's like not even fully developed, and it still feels like, whoa.
Exactly.
And then everything else, it's like, so I mean, like, hold on to your butt, because it's gonna be fun. The teenagers.
It's gonna be a wild ride for sure.
But I think you're sis, like, you're on the right way, because you're opening the conversations. You're there for your kids. They know you're there. They might not come to you for a friend about stuff, but they know you're there. And especially, like, you're just creating these healthy habits and these healthy, like, opportunities. And like, I think a lot of people that maybe weren't so lucky to have what I have, or weren't so lucky to have that, you know, really think that's like a good thing for kids growing up now. It's like I want to be like that aunt to my nephew, like, that he can, like, you know, I know he'll be able to tell my brother and my sister-in-law anything, but like, I also want to be that cool aunt. Like, you can talk to me about anything. Like, you know, I'm
I'll take you to get your first tattoo.
I'll take you. My brother would be like, no, not till you.
No.
I'm like, no, I'm just gonna give him sugar, and then I'm gonna hand him back to you.
Yep.
It's the best thing ever.
Lollipops and spaghetti.
Lollipops and spaghetti. But like I think that's one thing I'm noticing in reselling that I hope people realize to get back to that point is like, you know, we don't prioritize like your mind, body, and heart are all different things. And they all got to be on the same level. For like real mental health, you got to acknowledge all three. I definitely think physical health play into that. I know working out helped me with a lot of, like everything I deal with. It did help. I had to work around some things, but it's all a process. But I think definitely physical health. I think checking in with your feelings, taking care of your heart, doing something good every day. Those are some awesome
strategies.
Doing something good every day, and not necessarily just good for you. Like, be in service. I'll tell you, being in service is the best thing for me.
It not only does it help someone else, but it does help you at the end of the day. It really does. It makes me feel good to like spread positivity to people.
And it doesn't even have to be anything
I feel
big.
like, yeah, like it's just my morning message every day to Instagram.
I love that you do that every day.
At least I try. Sometimes it don't work out. I'd be so busy and I look up and I'm like, oh shit, it's 1:00. I didn't say good morning to my people. But just saying something out there and just saying like, hey, I hope you're waking up with a smile. Like, I'm sending positive vibes your way if you're not feeling it. Because that literally does make someone's day. And it makes my day too, especially when I get replies back like, I needed this morning. Or thank you. Like, I love that. Like, that I'm able to bring cheer to people's day.
It's like I tell people, like, when you get in the program, like when you get like you have to like sign up for commitments, right? Like if you've never been, if you're not in the program, whatever, like they have commitments in your home group, which is like where you go for meetings. But they're just tiny things. It's like setting up the chairs. It's like making the coffee, greeting people at the door, like. It's just, or like picking up the chairs at the end. And it's just those little, I think just those little things at the end of the day. It doesn't have to be the big things like giving away, the chips and everything like that. Like, I remember the first time I do that and I was scared out of my mind. I was like, can I just go back to the commitment of putting up chairs? Like, but like, it's just small things. I feel like if you set, if you set 2 things in your day, like 2 things that I try to do in my day is one thing for somebody else that makes somebody else feel good, whether it's a text message, whether it's just a really nice comment, whether it's purchasing from a friend's live sale, whether it's shouting somebody out, sending someone a Starbucks gift card just because, buying some, just telling someone goodwill, like, hey, I like your jacket, like. And I try to do something good for myself. I definitely do the first thing a lot more. I need to do the second thing a lot more. I'm really good at like getting into service because it takes me out of my own brain. But then like I just don't be in service to myself sometimes. So if there was like a thing I would say to like get better at from my side is to be in service to myself as well. But sometimes that means just doing the adult thing, like budgeting out money and not going like balling out on something. You know what I mean? Like
balling out on a cricket.
Or like
let me just drop 6 sticks on this right here.
I wish, right? But it's like, or like, okay, as a reseller, I'm gonna bring this point up. How many times have you been like, oh, I'm just like not having a good day, or just like I'm like not feeling good in the head, or maybe it's just me, like I'm not feeling good. I'm gonna go source because retail therapy, and it's like,
and bam, here comes some more problems because here's your office piling up.
And well, not even that. It's like, bam, okay, that's the money like that was for my phone bill, and I kind of need my phone to do my job, or like that's my money to do like, like I'm horrible at budgeting money. Like Kaiya needs to teach me. This is why Kaiya is the boss of the finance department for us, because I'd be like, yeah, well, let's go to cricket. Yeah, let's do this. Like, I'm spontaneous. So I feel like as a reseller, like, one thing too, like, I have to recognize that, like, some days for retail therapy is good. Like, some days you need that, right? Like, we're in a job where you have to kind of do that. And
it's that FOMO.
Yeah. But, like, some days it's not the answer to, like, making your brain feel better or fixing the problem. It's like, because it's not. It's just going to create another, your death pile is you're going to get lost in, like, a death pile somewhere, you know, or, like, you're going to be spending too much money on this. You're not going to list it. It's like, so I feel like that's one thing to be acknowledged too, is, like, retail therapy doesn't solve mental health.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we all watched Clueless way back when.
Yo, but that closet though, with the computer that shows our outfits.
Oh man,
I wanted that so bad growing up. It was like, can I just have? My parents were like, what do you want for Christmas? I was like, that computer that connects to your closet, like in Clueless. They're like, no, fam, you're getting a Barbie doll. You're getting a Furby. Like, you asked for it for like 5 years.
We messed up asking you that question. That is crazy.
We're like, oh, we got you the computer game so you can pretend you have the computer for the closet. But I think, you know, just to generally sum it up, we're going to be talking about it a lot this month. Again, it's a very broad topic. It's a lot to talk about, you know, and from different perspectives. I think that's what makes this great, is like, it's totally different perspectives. And I'm so appreciative of being able to have these conversations that I think are very important, Kaiya. Like, that a lot of people need to hear this conversation from both our perspectives, because I think people can identify with both, maybe, one other. So I'm always appreciative of our conversations, always making me think, always making me a better human being. And I hope you guys are enjoy the conversation too. And you know, so I think it's important. We're going to talk a lot. We have some amazing people lined up for you guys to be able to talk about this. We got some amazing stuff coming up. I'm so excited. And yeah, I just want to say I appreciate you, and I appreciate the listeners. Appreciate anyone that's like
anyone.
You're
just walking down the street. I appreciate you.
I appreciate the person that maybe this is like the first episode you listen to and you're like, whoa, what did I just walk into?
I appreciate the person that gave up their spot so that I can park there in front of my house yesterday.
It's the little things, man. It's the little things. So one last thing before we round it up, really short and sweet, Kaiya. Why? Because I want to know from your perspective, why is mental health awareness important?
Oh man, it's important. Why is it important? I'm trying to figure out how to put it into words.
I know it's one of those topics where it's like
you want to say what you want to say, but it might come up and be like, whoa. I really feel like it's just important because it's a part of everyone. It's not something, even though it attacks us very different. I don't want to say attack. It happens to us all differently, but it happens to everyone. So I feel like it's important to know about the topic. It's important to become more aware about the subject. Like we talked about the strategy. Here I come through with the words. Can't speak. Come through with it. The strategies to, you know, how to handle it day to day for yourself, how to be helpful to others, know the right words to say, which is important, because you may think, you know, you say something a certain way and you know how you mean it, but the person that you're saying it to might take it a whole different way. So it's important to know exactly what to say.
Yeah, I just think it's important to be a human being. it's important to understand at the end of the day, no matter what labels or what boxes we've, where we're from, whoever we are, however we identify, like, it's all just about being a good human being. And I think, mental health is the one thing that I think we can all relate to. Like, we can all either relate to it on a personal level or know somebody. So I feel like it's just this way to kind of break down those barriers to maybe someone that you wouldn't necessarily like speak to or know or really interact with on the daily, but you could almost have this like compassion for people, because we all deal with it, and it's something that we can all like get very lost in or have experience in. So I think that's why it's important to, and I feel like it's important to talk about it, because if we don't talk about it, then there's no awareness to it, and the cycle just continues and no changes get made. Just like most topics we talk about, it's important to discuss it, because discussing opens opportunities in a really good way and a way to change your thinking, maybe.
Thank you, THG, for coming back and hanging out with Caitlin and I on another episode of Flip That Jawn. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode as we dived into this month's topic about mental health awareness. Come along next week as Caitlin and I continue our monthly topic of mental health awareness with a special guest. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and give it a thumbs up. See you next week, THG.